2023 was a year full of nasty brawls, crude trash talking, thunderous knockouts, historic upsets, and retirements that made grown men cry. It was a crazy year that turned the MMA landscape upside down. And while there were tons of moments that shocked the MMA world, here are the 10 most ridiculous ones. Number 10. Dana White power slaps his wife. Dana White had a horrible start to 2023 as his New Year's Eve celebrations turned into a horror after he and his wife engaged in a power slap contest. The UFC president and his better half were going clubbing on New Year's Eve when his wife punched him in the face for God knows what, prompting an equal and opposite reaction from the world's top MMA promoter. The video of Dana slapping his wife spread on the internet like wildfire, with many asking UFC bigwigs to fire the man who'd turned the company into a $4 billion franchise. Of course, that wasn't going to happen, but Dana had to formally apologize for his actions, admitting that he messed up big time. Even his wife made a statement saying that what happened was out of character for both the lovebirds and they've buried their hatchet. Number 9. Alexa Grasso stuns Valentina Shevchenko. Now, UFC 285 couldn't have come at a better time for Dana White, who, after struggling with the power slap controversy, had to deal with another blow, which was the then heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou's departure from the promotion over pay. Dana's troubles were the talk of the town until UFC 285 came to his rescue, since the co-main event turned the MMA world upside down and made them forget about the traumatic first 2 months of 2023. In the UFC 285 co-main event, Mexico's pride Alexa Grasso challenged flyweight GOAT Valentina Shevchenko for the belt. Bullet was a massive favorite heading into the fight, and Grasso had a snowball's chance in hell to win. Yet, she came out strong, outboxing Valentina in the first round. From round 2 onwards, Shevchenko had things under control thanks to her grappling abilities. But late in the 4th round, she went for a spinning kick for some odd reason. As soon as Shevchenko turned her back, Grasso backpacked her like she'd been training for the moment for a lifetime, and a few seconds later, the Mexican cut off Shevchenko's blood supply to earn a monumental victory. Number 8. Jon Jones destroys Francis Ngannou. A few minutes after Grasso shocked the world, Jon Jones entered the cage to face Ciryl Gane for the vacant heavyweight title. Jones hadn't fought for 3 years and never before at heavyweight, so many people were foolish enough to think that the GOAT had his work cut out for him. Ciryl Gane is an excellent striker, so the hype surrounding him made sense. But Jones couldn't care less. A minute into their fight, Jones ducked under a shot, grabbed a hold of Gane, and out-wrestled him before snapping his neck with a guillotine to become the baddest man on the planet. It was a walk in the park, and it was ridiculously surprising for many, although it was not as shocking as the next one you'll see. Number 7. Justin Gaethje's BMF Revenge. 2023 was a year of major retirements, including that of the UFC's inaugural BMF belt holder, Jorge Masvidal, which left the symbolic belt up for grabs. And guess who was booked to fight for it at UFC 291? 2 of the baddest mother effers in the sport, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. The first battle between the two was a bloody war, where Poirier cashed onto Gaethje's recklessness to win the fight in the 4th round. So naturally, most fans favored Poirier to win the second fight as well, but Gaethje came out with a perfect game plan, tagging Poirier on counters and then pulling off a head kick knockout from the deepest pits of hell to shatter the diamond into pieces. While one BMF rose to greatness, another rode into the sunset with one of the most iconic farewells in MMA history. Number 6. The Zombie's Farewell. Chan Sung Jung UFC debut and scoring one of the fastest knockouts in UFC history in his second promotional fight. The South Korean was a fan favorite, so when he walked out for his retirement fight against Max Holloway in Singapore, the 15,000-plus people in the Singapore indoor stadium sang his iconic theme song, Zombie, by the Cranberries at the top of their lungs. A welcome like that lit a fire under the zombie, who fought like a man who had nothing to lose, pushing Holloway of all people on the back foot and landing bombs that landed clean. Unfortunately, the zombie was knocked out cold on the counter, and as he walked out of the cage, the audience once again sang his walkout anthem, creating an absolutely electric atmosphere that made grown men cry. It was one of the most wholesome moments in MMA history. And here's us hoping Tony Ferguson receives a send-off like that as well when he retires. Number 5. Tony Ferguson trains with David Goggins. Having lost 7 fights in a row, Ferguson is in a terrible spot currently, with many hoping and praying that he calls it a day because he doesn't seem to have that fire in him anymore, though he begs to differ. To bounce back into winning ways, Ferguson is trying different ways. He most recently surprised many by training with former Navy SEAL turned triathlete David Goggins for his lightweight clash with Paddy Pimblett at UFC 296. It was obviously not a great idea since Ferguson ended up losing quite comfortably, but despite calls for retirement, El Cucuy doesn't want to call it quits. Who knows who Ferguson will train with next? Maybe Chuck Norris? Ferguson's current state is sad, but at least Sean Strickland is winning at life. Number 4. Sean Strickland's big moment. Long regarded as a gatekeeper of the UFC middleweight division, Sean Strickland was blessed by MMA gods for years of abuse and heartache with an uber-successful 2023. He started his year by taking a short-notice fight against Nassourdine Imavov and pummeling him to secure a comfortable decision victory. Midway through the year, he was asked to fight promotional newcomer Abaz Magomedov, and he ended up knocking him out. In September, he was asked to fill in for Dricus du Plessis and fight Israel Adesanya for the middleweight title at UFC 293. And like the good company man that he is, Strickland obliged. The American was a massive underdog, so when he rocked Adesanya in the first round and beat him up for 5 rounds with 1 toes to win the belt, everyone was shocked. It was one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Strickland would now face Dricus du Plessis at UFC 297, heading into which tensions between the two are at an all-time high. Number 3. The Dricus du Plessis Brawl. Ahead of UFC 296, the UFC made them sit together for a press conference, which quickly turned personal when du Plessis decided to reopen wounds from Strickland's past.
Bro, why are you so angry? Bro, you think your dad beat the shit out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. I'm gonna show you what it's like to beat you. I mean, every childhood memory you have is gonna come back.
For context, Tarzan had a traumatic childhood, marked by physical abuse from his father, which is something he's still trying to recover from. Naturally, things turned sour between the two following DDP's brutal comments, so it came as a massive surprise to many when the two were made to sit close to each other in the crowd at UFC 296. That move was always going to backfire. The two constantly chirped at each other, and Strickland lost his marbles at one point, as he kindly asked Gilbert Burns' family, who were sitting next to him, to step aside so he could ambush du Plessis, who was sitting behind the champ. Strickland was eventually escorted out of the arena. Number 2. Colby Covington's dark trash talking. Now, the Strickland versus du Plessis back and forth wasn't the only dark moment from the pre-UFC 296 press conferences. Colby Covington, who challenged Leon Edwards for the welterweight title in the UFC 296 headliner, also made some crude comments about his opponent's dead father. For those who don't know, Edwards' father was a gang member who was murdered in a London pub when the UFC champ was only 13 years old. Following the death of his father, Leon himself started mingling with the wrong crowd and had trouble with the police. Luckily, his mother enrolled him in an MMA gym at 15 years old. Fast forward some 15 plus years, Edwards is the best welterweight in the world. A lot of time has passed, but some wounds never truly heal. So when Covington playfully brought up Rocky's old man's death in their presser, the champ naturally snapped.
No, I'm bringing you to 7th layer hell. We'll say what's up to your dad while we're there.
Oh!
Edwards exacted his revenge by beating Covington and essentially ending his career as a title challenger, according to many. Number 1. Francis Ngannou makes MMA world proud. The most WTF, crazy, and ridiculous moment of 2023 was Francis Ngannou giving Tyson Fury a real scare in their boxing match in October. The former UFC heavyweight champion, who now competes in the PFL after parting ways with the UFC, had a very profitable 2023. He first rejected the UFC's $8 million offer to fight Jon Jones, then rejected several promotions before eventually signing with the PFL, where he'll make millions of dollars per fight, plus a ton more. PFL also allows him to box, and the promotion was instrumental in booking a professional match between their biggest star and Tyson Fury. The fight that took place in Saudi Arabia was expected to be completely one-sided, with many claiming that Ngannou was going to be embarrassed. However, Ngannou shocked the world by dropping Fury in the third round, and then going toe-to-toe and blow for blow with him for 10 rounds. Ngannou wasn't awarded the win, however, and many thought he was robbed. Nevertheless, he represented MMA in a boxing ring like a champion. So these were the 10 most ridiculous moments of 2023 according to us. What are your top 3 MMA moments of 2023? Share your thoughts, predictions, and opinions in the comment section below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell to stay in the loop on all things combat sports. Stay tuned, fight fans.